going to call the title of this video Surrendering to Our Humanness. So first of all, what is a human being? What's one thing we all have in common? Let's start there. Companionship. Because companionship comes in many ways. But love, truly, if you go anywhere on the globe, you are going to find parents loving their children. You are going to find children loving their parents. You're going to find partners loving each other, friends loving each other. You're going to find animal lovers loving their pets. You're going to find all types of love and family units. And other than that, basic survival, finding food, shelter, warmth, some comfort. And once you get that down, you can then start to expand a little bit, and that's what the human race does. It kind of expands and grows, and so the human is loving, but we can get angry, we can get jealous, we can get hateful, bitter, and I used to think these things were called out of alignment with our true nature, and that may be correct in our, say, spirit form. Let's say when we're in a place of great joy, peace and abundance back in spirit, back at home, when we no longer have this kind of homesickness feeling in our sensitive hearts. Maybe that is true of them, but while we are in the human condition, while we are trying to accept our humanness, then we have to accept that humans are a multitude of emotions. And I've heard that this is what makes our species absolutely beautiful. It's our relationship with ourselves, and more than that, because of the forgetfulness, the veil that we have to go through, it's this feeling of limitlessness or limiting experience, and being such a limitless being, an all-powerful being of one consciousness and unity and divinity. I think it's really, really interesting how we get wrapped up so much in our human condition to the point that we actually try to start neglecting our human condition, our humanness, because the human being is an emotional being, and our emotions is our connection to spirit. It isn't, when people talk about manifesting, the word manifestation is just everywhere at the moment. Oh, I manifested this, manifested that, manifest this, that. And yeah, manifestation is a real thing, but it's been far too simplified down. And there's some great teachers out there on kind of manifestation, but manifestation isn't about you manifesting your destiny. It isn't about that. For me, manifestation is your reaction, your free will within the destiny, because that is what that is what most of us are trying to work on, and very few really truly attain, which is that peace, that absolute peace of letting go, of trying to manifest your destiny, of allowing your destiny to come to you because it is already written in the stars, of being that shining light in the darkest of times, when you are needed the most. When your light is needed the most is in the darkest of times. That is when you will shine the brightest, yet we want to push the dark times away as if they do not exist, diminishing the light that we all hold inside of us, our true self. So by neglecting the human being and not accepting our humanness, our human condition, this human experience, by neglecting a part of that, we are neglecting a part of our whole, of our brightness, of our love, of our light. Because we think we know what is best for us in this moment, in this time. We think we know what's best for the world and how we would fix it. This is what I would do. This is what I would do to fix these problems. Why can't I be Prime Minister? Everyone gets a house. Everyone this, everyone that. We need to end homelessness. We need to end all this stuff. But all that stuff is here for a reason far greater than I could comprehend. And it humbles me. and actually relieves me of my stress, my anxiety of trying to control everything. Because there is a force much greater at work that is in control of this great play of life. And this is what Christians talk about: faith. Surrender. You know, through my years of addiction, through alcohol addiction, I heard the word surrender so many times, and I thought, if I surrender to what? Just go and have a drink? Letting go of the drink? What do I surrender to? And I had to surrender to the divine timing that I would get better when I would get better. And every time I tried to force myself to get better, things hadn't played out yet. They hadn't run their course yet, the way it was supposed to, and I kept failing. I saw it as failing. I wasn't failing. I was living out my purpose, what I'd signed up for down here on earth. It hadn't played out yet until, just over 2 years ago now. It'll be 3 years, October 22nd, I'll be sober. Just over 2 years ago, divine timing, me, everything aligned. The time was right. I got sober. Haven't touched a drop of alcohol for 2 years. Very, very small drop a few months back. Didn't get drunk, but just it kind of reminded me of, okay, this isn't the path I want to go down. So been sober for over 2 years, and never done that in my life. Tried a billion times, as anyone in addiction would know, but I hadn't surrendered to divine timing. There was things I still had to go through, lessons I still had to learn, relationships that still had to break, and relationships I still had to make through the addiction. It served a purpose, which I still wish a lot of the stuff that happened through the addiction didn't happen, but that's still me trying to neglect a part of my story. That is me still trying to neglect, and this is what I'm getting to, guys. If we neglect our past, we neglect our actions done against us. We hold people accountable. We hold ourselves accountable for playing out a script that was written before we came to earth. Can you see where I'm going with this? How guilt really should hold no place on planet Earth. There should be patience, understanding, and I know this leads to much, much, much bigger and deeper conversations, which I really want to have with people. I really want to have, and it's going to go there. What about the mass murderers? What about the people that go out and they will kill again? Should we allow them back out on the street? Be understanding? No, because they chose their path, and they are where they are because of the role they chose to play out. The victims of them people back in heaven on the day that they had planned, and all of the lessons that had to be learned around the loss of the souls that still remained on earth, leading to great awakenings, leading to greater awareness, leading to faith, belief, love. And we see it all the times when there's a massive natural disaster, Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Helene, these natural disasters, these great floods and earthquakes and landslides where hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people get affected. That is where we see, in the darkest of times, we see the most heroic, beautiful stories of sacrifice, bravery, courage, love for one another. No one's looking at each other as if they're a different race, they're a different sexuality. You're a human being who's in trouble, and I'm going to try and help you. And that comes out that is what you cannot deny about the human race. When we need each other, we come together in true disaster. But equally true about the human race is it takes normally true disaster for us to come together. And when things go back to good and things go back to good and bad again, things go back to, I own this and you own that, and you stay over there and I'll stay over here, until something bad happens again, and then we come together again in unity, and that's just a part of the human condition, And I was tempted to say we need to change that behaviour, but that is obviously playing out for a reason greater than I can understand. Will the human race ever change and evolve into something we all want to see? I believe so, 100% yes. But it starts with the understanding that we have been living out a time in history. When we look back at the medieval times or the Victorian times, do we really judge the people who lived in them times for their actions? Oh, they weren't educated. They didn't have the right opportunities as we have now. We can't hold them people accountable. It was the Victorians, it was the Tudor times, man. It was the Civil War times. It was the war times, man. It was Nam. You weren't there, man. You weren't there. You can't judge. Well, can we judge ourselves now in this time in human history? Are we really educated? Are we really awake and aware? Because in a generation, 2-3 generations, 3 or let's say 400 years time, they're going to be looking at us like we were uneducated, like we were asleep, and they're not going to judge us for that. Oh, them poor people back just after the millennium, that they were uneducated, they didn't have the same opportunities as we do now. It's going to be the same thing. We're playing out a time in history, in human history, and we agreed to come here and do that, is what I believe. This is my opinion, guys. This is my opinion. So, for all of the people out there that still hold a tremendous amount of pain and trauma, I understand. Life, especially when you're young and bad stuff happens to you when you're a kid, it's out of your hands. Feels like it's out of your hands. There I go, shunning responsibility again. Feels like it's out of your hands, but if we signed up for it, is it ever? Is it ever out of our hands? You know, my mum passing away when I was a kid and being wrapped in alcohol addiction, all the bad stuff. I can just accept it for my story. My story. And my story isn't over yet. Your story isn't over yet. Good, the bad, the ugly is all still waiting around the corner. But what is different is our opportunity to react differently to it. To not hold on to them bad times, to let them go, to look for the good, accept the good as well. Good stuff happens to you guys, accept it, say thank you, I'm grateful. Don't think you're not worthy of it. Don't think you're not worthy of this good, beautiful, abundant life. You know, because we all are. And really try to love yourself and accept yourself today, because you're a beautiful human being, and the world just wouldn't be the same without you. Love you all. See you soon.